Hello, thank you for checking out A1 Math, and today we're looking at using the explicit rule or generating a sequence using the explicit rule. Let's take a look at our example. All right, first I want to go over what the explicit rule is. An explicit rule for a sequence to find the nth term as a function of n for any whole number n greater than 0. Okay, explicit rule could be used to find any specific term in a sequence without finding any of the previous terms. So the key things you need to know is that it's being used as a function, and it could be used without finding the previous terms. Okay, so here's two problems here. One is worked out and one is halfway worked out. So here in part A, they got a little table here, and it's similar to a T-chart where you have n is the number that you're putting in, your term, whichever term you're on. And this part in the middle is you working out your function. At the end, you get your f of n, what comes out from when you work that function. So they plugged in number 1, 2, 3, and 4 into this function here. And when they plugged in 1, they got 3. When they plugged in 2, they got 6. When they plugged in 3, they got 11, and so on. Okay. Okay, and B is a similar problem, just different numbers here, a different function. We've got f of n is equal to 3n squared plus 1. And we're going to use the same numbers. We're going to use 1, 2, 3, and 4. Okay, and then we're going to find out what these terms are. And we want to figure out what the fourth one is, okay? The first 4 terms, I'm sorry. So, every time we plug in for n here, it's going to be 1, and then 2, 3, and 4. And when we plug in 1 for our n, what do we get? Well, 1 squared is 1. 1 times 3 is 3. And 3 plus 1 is 4. So when we plug in 1, we get 4. All right, next we're going to plug in 2. 2 squared will be 4. 4 times 3 is 12. And 12 plus 1 is 13. So when we plug in 2, we get 13. All right, now we're going to plug in 3. And 3 squared is 9. And 9 times 3 is 27. And 27 plus 1 is 28. So when we plug in 3, we get 28. And finally, we have 4. We'll plug in 4 here. 4 squared is 16. And then 16 times 3 is 48. And 48 plus 1 is 49. So when we plug in 4, we get 49. Again, this is called the explicit rule because you're using functions. All right, so the first 4 terms are 4, 13, 28, and 49. Okay, now that's part one in generating a sequence using the explicit rule. Okay, but for now, I want to thank you for checking out A1 Math. Have a nice day.